Hi, everybody. Today I have a fun subject for us. We're going to be taking a look at a video by Ryan McBeth. It's a couple of years old, but it's still really relevant. He's answering a question asked about the state of the Canadian military. Ryan describes himself as Ryan. We're on a first name basis. Mr. McBeth describes himself as an Intel analyst, software architect, cybersecurity guy, content creator, Newsmax commentator, author, and typical SIG guy. SIG? SIG? Oh man. Yeah, so anyway, let's take a look.
Now, let's start with Patrick from Canada. I am wondering if the Canadian military is adequate for future conflicts. NATO recently gotten mad at Canada for a military spending budget. Do you think that the Canadian military in its current state would be a good ally fighting and logistics-wise in a future war against modern U.S. NATO enemies? If not, which way could we improve our military? So if you notice, this is the first question. I'm wearing my my RCMP shirt right here.
Nice.
Thank you for that, Ryan. I really appreciate it. I do love this shirt. I wear it all the time. Would Canada be a good partner? Absolutely, absolutely. I serve with Canadian soldiers. I work with Canadian soldiers. Canadians are some highly motivated professional soldiers for reasons that I'm going to get into in a second. Canada punches way above its weight. I think it's mainly because Canada supplies like 10% of all of the UN's peacekeeping troops. Like when there's a mission, Canada's like, we'll take it. In Afghanistan, Canada was like, oh, you betcha, I'll go get the leopards.
Was that your Canadian accent? You betcha. Let's go get the leopards, eh? Okay, so this is pretty cool. Thank you so much for your service. Any military personnel out there watching this video, I don't think you hear it enough. Thank you so much for your service.
Brought Leopard tanks to Ukraine, or not to Ukraine, to Afghanistan. For a while, Canada was holding Afghanistan down. When there was a mission, Canada was like, "Yeah, we'll go." I think they sent over 40,000 troops through Afghanistan. Yeah, Canada was stepping up, man. RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, they're in the Congo, they're in Haiti, they're in the West Bank, I believe. So when Canada needs to train, other militaries or other police agencies, they're there. They're there. There is nothing wrong with the motivation of Canadian forces. They're spot on. They're very good. Their Air Force is good as well. They're upgrading to the F-35. They're spending a lot of.
Our pilots are very good. Our pilots are really good. And I think the record for the longest sniper shot is from a Canadian sniper, I think. Please yell at me in the comments if I got that wrong. You will. I trust. Hi, Future Pierre here. I forgot to mention I have a couple of books that I put out last year on digital marketing. These are a great idea as a Christmas gift for somebody you love or for yourself if you're into digital marketing. They're available free on Amazon Kindle and also available in paperback and hardcover. Thanks for supporting. Bye.
Money on the F-35, but it kind of makes sense because there's constantly violations of Canada's airspace from Russian bombers, or at least there is the specter of violations of that airspace. So it makes sense that Canada spends a lot of money on their Air Force. I don't really know much about Canada's Navy. I know there was a scandal a couple of years ago.
Navy, we have a couple of submarines called the Victoria class, built during the Victorian era, I think. One of them, and we got them used from the UK on its way over for delivery from the UK. One of them caught fire. That's a great place to be, by the way, in a submarine on fire. Yeah, nice.
Where they replaced all of their rank insignia, and it cost like millions of dollars. It did nothing. And I think there was a boat or a ship that had to go out, and like half its crew. They needed to get crew from 2 ships just to make the mission. But I don't know enough about Canada's Navy. I don't know enough about any Navy to really.
If the biggest scandal you can think of is that we changed a couple of names and had to change some stationery and some letterheads. Pretty good. If you dig a little bit further, though, there are some.
Speak on that. I can tell you that from what I understand, Canada has some older kit. Even things like rucksacks. The rifle, I think the C7A2 is a good rifle. Back in the 90s, when we would fight against Canada doing exercises, God, what was that optic called? The C79. See the C79 optic that they put on their C7s. They're picking people off at like 300 meters. They're just banging dudes at 300 meters. Meanwhile, U.S. Army at 300 meters, we're still making, we're engaging with our heavy weapons, but we're not hitting anybody at 300 meters. But the Canadians with that sight was a force multiplier. And Canada had that in the 90s. But the weapons are showing its age. I think that
to be fair, those videos is a couple of years old. Canada is investing a lot in its military. There's a real push for recruiting right now. If you're a young person and you're looking for a career, pretty cool to go into the military. Air Force, of course, would be my choice, but absolutely great to be in the forces. Even the reserves. Apparently the reserves are like, people are lining up now to be in the reserves. If I wasn't so old and lame, I would be there as well. Instead, sitting at home with my puppy. Good girl, puppy.
I think that the military of Canada, or at least the Canadian Army, it's like 44,000 people. And I think there's another like 16, 17,000 in the reserves. To put that into perspective, the New York City Police Department has like about 33,000 officers. So the New York City Police Department is 1/3 the size of the Canadian Army without its reserves. And, I think the reason why Canada punches above its weight is that they have a lot of experience in getting deployed and in dealing with peacekeeping missions where they're using their skills every day. People call America the world's policeman. Canada is the world's policeman. Because whenever there's a UN mission, they're like, hey, we got it. So, but I think they need help. I think they need more people. They probably need to get their army up to about 100,000. That being said, when it comes to the quality of the average Canadian soldier, I've got nothing but good things to say about them.
Well, the puppy and I certainly hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share, if you can. I'm trying to grow the channel. If you're into Canadian things, if you're into geopolitics, if you're into aircraft and sovereignty, this is the place for you. I'm Pierre Shields from North America. Thanks so much. Go play outside.